I'ma let you finish. Court naming.
It's daylight savings time. I hate daylight savings time.
Pantheon Podcast Network. Welcome, guys. Yeah.
Welcome.
I was never one of those people that was really affected by daylight savings time, if I could be honest with you.
All right. Wait. We weren't recording yet. Now.
Yes, we were recording.
No,
it's recording on my end. I'm seeing recording and it said recording. You just stopped.
Okay, it wasn't recording. No, you were.
Okay. The thing I'm watching what's happening right here. It was recording the entire time.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Just trying to do. Okay. All right. Let's start again.
All right. Welcome to I'ma Let You Finish with Court and Amy. It's Court and
Welcome.
It's Court and Amy. Like,
Court and Amy.
Like, what the hell?
We're like Bennifer now. Court Amy. That's who we are. We're Court Amy.
It's Court Amy. That's so
because
horrible.
Who has time to say all those syllables, for fuck's sake? People are trying to sleep.
Oh my God. Hilarious.
Anyway, how are you?
Black, how are you?
Black adjacent. I think with a name like Amy Linden, no one is ever going to think I'm black. I will just say that.
So I did eat my, I tried something new this time because sometimes you guys don't know, we tape the show early in the morning. And for some reason, even though I'm up 90 hours before we tape this show earlier in the morning, I always tend to start trying to cook my breakfast. 10 minutes before we're going on the air. And then I'm always like, fuck, I can't eat. But this morning, I actually, when I got up, I got up around 6:30.
Me too.
But at 7, I finally had my bowl of multigrain Cheerios. And I was like, oh my God, look at you being an adult and actually eating before the show instead of dying of hunger through the show because you can smell your food that you can't eat. Progress.
You can smell your multigrain Cheerios.
Well, because
cooking.
I'm always cooking some shit, and then I'll realize the time and be like, "Fuck, God, this was a bad decision." But you've already started,
Yeah. Well. I've been into the overnight oats, which I didn't know was a thing until somebody explained it to me. And I will say
What's an overnight oat?
You just basically make oatmeal and put milk on it or whatever, and then leave it in the fridge overnight. And in the morning, you have a tasty bowl of oatmeal without cooking.
Really?
It's so good. It is so good. It's a thing. It's a thing. And I didn't know what it was. And it was one of those things, you know how at our age, we don't want to ask anybody younger than us, what is that? Even when it comes down to something asinine like oatmeal. And I finally said, what is it? And they said, you take a bowl of oatmeal, you put whatever you want to put into it. You put any kind of liquid you want in, you stick it in the fridge, bingo, bango. In the morning, you have oatmeal and it's freaking-lish. So there you go.
Oh, well, all right.
There you go. It's never too late to teach an old hag new oatmeal. Anyway, segue it, baby. I dare you. I dare you to segue on this one. I triple dare you.
Speaking of oatmeal and bad decisions.
Oh, no, wait. We were going to talk about the marathon real quick, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
So
people who eat well.
Well, one, it seems to be a lot of people finished in record times this year. I know a couple of people who ran, and they all ran for some reason. I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know if it was because last year there wasn't one and they didn't run as much.
Weather was spectacular for a marathon this year.
Everybody seemed to have a really good race. And I know you said that your kid had a really good race.
Yeah, Lucian ran he did, I don't know if it was his best, but he did 3:31.56, which is not Kenyan, but pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Maybe because they cut the participants in half. So you had more room to run, which I would imagine does. But, you know, kudos to anyone who ran this thing. I will tell you, as someone who has watched it go by their house for 35 years, I'm exhausted watching them. So I'm I will.
It's always very exciting to see them too. I love it. I love it.
It's very exciting.
It's
the best of New York.
Yeah.
And here's something that's really amazing. You know, there's always a fairly big police presence because, you know, it's a lot of people. Shockingly, the whiter my neighborhood gets, the less likely the cops are to tell people to get their monkey asses out of the running route. I don't know what that is. We'll have to do a study on that, why more white people in the neighborhood means less police involvement, but I can't think of what it could be. I don't know. Maybe you could. I don't know. But speaking of great New York things that are happening, how about our Knicks?
I'm having so much fun with them. Even though they lost a couple, but they came back and they bounced back and they won last night. Listen, I love my Knicks, and that's what I wanted. I wanted scrappy. They're going to fight for it. Yep. And, you know, listen, we finally have some exciting basketball back at Madison Square Garden. Because even though the Knicks games were always sold out, they would just be such a sad affair just watching them just get the floor wiped with them night after night after night. And now there's excitement in the Garden again, you feel it all around the city. And yes, as Knicks fans, I know some of us are acting like we're already in the finals, but it's like,
doesn't matter.
In our hearts, winning games feels like being in the finals.
We take it where being a Knicks fan is very frustrating. And this is our moment of Zen and our moment of Buddhist contemplation. I will take every day. I'm very grateful for what is happening. And as I have told you, I've been wearing my Knicks hat religiously, and I do not get the scorn because I live 10 blocks away from Barclays. I do not get the scorn. And may we just add, unlike some other people we are going to talk about in a few minutes, the Knicks believe in science.
Yeah.
So,
and let me just say this, and I'm actually less hateful of the Nets now. My issue with the Nets in the beginning was when they moved here and everybody just tried to act like they're this New York born team. I'm like, this team has moved all around. And to me, they're still like the Jersey Nets, you know?
We're old.
no, because that wasn't that fucking long ago. Really, you know what I'm saying?
Not the Jersey Nets. I'm thinking of the Long Island Nets.
That's old. Right, when it was Long Island. Right. But, you know, I do enjoy I love sports. And New York is a sports town. So it makes me happy to have, you know, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Knicks, the Nets, you know, our soccer teams. We have the two soccer teams now, the Red Bulls and the other one.
Cosmos.
Yeah, the Cosmos. And just, I love it. So the more the Jets and the Giants.
Don't. It's too early in the morning to come. I'm a mandated reporter. If you threaten to I will have to report the authorities if you start showing signs of depression. Too early.
It's just, it's Knicks so horrible. It's like, I just look at them and I'm like, why? Everybody at the Giants needs to be fired. Everybody. Well, everybody.
I'll tell you, one person they don't want on their team is Aaron Rodgers. That's for sure.
Oof. That girl, Miss Aaron Rodgers.
Why's she got to be a girl? Women are smarter than men.
She's a lot of things, Miss Aaron Rodgers. Let me just say, he's so shady. First of all, I like Aaron Rodgers, but there's always some shit around him. And I would just think, wow, he has bad luck. You know, he had the weird shit with his family and all of this different shit. And then you start thinking, but you know, the one constant in all these stories is you. I have a friend like that who's always in some conflict with a lot of people, but they're always the innocent one. But I'm like, you are always the one in conflict with people in your life. You should check that, because like that's weird. And I look at him and it's like, there's always a conflict. I don't care if you're not vaccinated. It's the lie that's the problem.
Well, I care if you're not vaccinated.
Well, no, because they have protocols. So if you said it from the beginning, he would have been following them. He would have been able to play, but there's protocols. Just do that. I have no problem with that. But the lie is what makes it like, Man, come on.
Well, this is an example, to use a term that we use a lot. This is an example of white male privilege. He has not followed any of the protocols. He knew he was not vaccinated, and he used a cute little term, immunized, which shocking. Sports reporters, general public, and athletes are not trained virologists. So some people might go, "Oh, I have immunity. That means I'm fine." He did not wear.
Getting his advice from like Joe Rogan or something.
Well, there you go. He did not wear masks. He knew damn well he wasn't. Everyone I know, and I don't know a lot of people, thankfully, who are not vaccinated, but everyone I know who was chosen for whatever cockamamie reason not to get vaccinated wears a mask. And he knew he wasn't vaccinated. He knew he was lying through his teeth, but he thought he would skirt on his greasy haired, I'm dating a movie star, I'm relatively cute bullshit. And that's what makes me so angry. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
right?
It's a lie.
It's the lie. The lie is the thing that
will nail you.
It just makes it shitty.
Well, and we've talked about Kyrie Irving. I mean, give Kyrie Irving credit. He flat out said, I'm not vaccinated. Yep. So everyone around him could take necessary precautions. This guy put his teammates at risk. He makes, we posted a really good op-ed by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is just a brilliant writer, along with being a brilliant brilliant ball player. And he said it just makes athletes look bad because it's the arrogance. And that just, again, I don't agree with his decision. His decision is based on cockamamie, I'm going to do my own research bullshit. But it's the arrogance and that thinking I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm a multi-millionaire, right? I'm successful. Absolutely. I can get away with it. And so, as my grandfather used to say, a pox on his houses, a pox on both of his houses. So I just don't, I'm tired of men thinking, I'm tired of, as we both are, mansplaining and then thinking you can get away with it because you're a man. And this is really basically what it is,
It's my thing is, and and you and I don't agree on this, I don't like mandating somebody doing anything with their body. I'm not with that. But I'm like, just be like, I'm not into it. And just do what you got to do, but don't lie. And then try to backtrack and be like, my statements could have been misinterpreted. You were asked a direct question. You knew what people were asking you, and you answered how you answered.
He's not a dummy.
And then there was a follow-up question. So you gave yourself wiggle room, but it's a wiggle room. It's a lot. You lied.
Yeah, you lied. You're being too cute by half, right?
And I'm kind of just like, man, listen. Just stand for your fucking choice and be like, no, I'm not vaccinated. I don't believe it. My body, I don't do it, but I'm going to follow the protocols and do my thing. Mm-hmm. Boom.
There you go. Well, he's a liar and screw him. And I don't care about, whatever. I hope, hopefully he'll get his. All right, let's take a breather because we're about to go into something that's annoying and really fucking stupid to something that's unbelievably tragic. And we're talking about the absolute catastrophe, the crime scene it may turn out to be that happened at Travis Scott's Astroworld festival. I guess you can call it a festival.
Yes, in Houston. Yes,
in Houston, which is his hometown. Can I just say something?
It was a 3-day festival, and on the first night.
Okay. Did you know that was a stage name, Travis Scott? That's not his real.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I'm just saying it's weird. Mm-hmm. No, it's just weird to me that you would change your name to Travis Scott. It's like what your government name was perfectly fine. It has nothing to do with anything. Mm-hmm. All right, you want to kind of 8 people?
Well, 8 people were killed, and I believe maybe that number is going up because I just saw something where a family is having to take one of the people who was in the hospital off of life support because they're brain dead.
Oh God.
So I guess I'm being suffocated or whatever happened. This was not the first Astroworld festival that he's ever had. Right. So Houston is his hometown. It's the first night. Now he's got a history of having sort of the kind of fans that sort of mosh, and it's that kind of a really sort of frenetic sort of environment. what I get absolutely confused about is Live Nation is the partner. The event organizers on the ground. We are not in, this is not a first year of having festivals. There are festivals that happen all over the world and have happened every year. We understand how you put people in sort of the different corrals and pits and exits and strategies and having aisles. But it seems that was just completely ignored here.
None of that.
And it makes, there's so many people to blame. And then when you see the level of panic of some of these young people who were like climbing up scaffoldings and going to the employees, there's one where the young lady is saying, someone's dead down there, and she's begging him for help. And he's kind of just like, and there's such a disconnect on so many different levels. You see him from the stage noticing something's wrong, stopping, and then starting to show. Where were the where was the people behind the stage to be like, cut the music? And sometimes when an artist is on, someone makes a decision where they cut the music to turn the lights on. And the artist doesn't even, they stop the show. So many, because when I keep hearing people saying Travis, it's like, yes, he's on stage. But sometimes when you're on stage, you may see some energy, but you don't know what is actually happening. Because evidently he left, and what they're saying is he went to Drake's after party at Dave & Buster's, not realizing, I'm very confused about
I'm confused by that as well.
Yeah.
There is blame to go around. There is the fact that, especially we know based on, in 1979, 11 people were killed at a Who show. And because of that, Cincinnati banned general admission seating for 25 years. In 2009, people were killed at a Pearl Jam show because of crowd rushing. Pearl Jam stopped the show and had everybody move back a little bit. Right. The thing that's troubling about this, there's two things to me that is troubling about this Travis Scott show. And I have been at a show. I was at a show once, a Tibet Freedom concert, where there was a lightning strike in the stadium, outdoor stadium. And the act on stage, which was Herbie Hancock and Guru, they were unaware of what was going on. They saw and heard, but they were unaware. So I understand that it may be hard for the artist to suss out what's going on, but there was an ambulance in the audience. And I find it hard to believe, even in the adrenaline of a show, that you don't look out, see an ambulance and go, hold time, what's happening here? The other thing, I will say we've made progress, is that the right-wing press isn't blaming this on hip hop. So yay, we've made progress on that. But I as someone who has spent a decent amount of time in mosh pits, he did a quote several years in 2018 in his song Stargazing. He said, "It ain't a mosh pit if it ain't no injuries." Well, I will tell you, someone who has been in mosh pits, you don't want injuries. And as soon as somebody gets hurt, they get you out of the mosh pit, because it's supposed to be about community and bonding, for whatever we may think about it. And the fact that he views that kind of adrenaline and escalation of emotion, and I'm all for that. Crowds are participatory, right? We're supposed to be ramped up, and it's great. But the fact that he views that like the end game is supposed to be getting fucked up and let's tear shit up. No, that to me is irresponsible. I'm not saying he caused the death. Yes, you're 100% right. There is massive blame to go on, but he's not a newbie at this. It's his production company too.
And the weird part was he seemed to a couple of times notice that something wasn't right. So it's like this, but it wasn't like turn on the lights, stop.
Well, there's an ambulance in the audience.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, I've worked with a lot of artists. I've been to a lot of shows. There's sometimes you have to stop.
Yeah.
So you have to stop. You see something is happening. If you're not sure, you have to be like, you stop and you're like, what's happening?
Right.
You know what I mean? You really do. You have to stop.
Well, there is tremendous blame to go around. There are going to be lawsuits, but the fact
the lawsuits have already been flying.
Yeah.
The crazy part to me is there's a full crew. There's a stage. There's a production manager. There's a road manager. There's a music director. Someone could have stopped that show. It did not need to be him. You cut the music. That remember when we were just watching the concert for New York in Central Park?
Right.
Barry Manilow was on stage. He just got up. He was doing his number. He was shaking his little Barry Manilow behind. And next thing you know, the lights went bright, even though it was daytime, and his mic went off. And they were like, the thunder is coming. We are clearing the park.
Well, but that New York show.
And that's what you do.
Well, so that New York show, it was a smaller crowd because they planned ahead, but also they.
No, but I'm just talking about. It wasn't the artist who did it.
No.
And where was the person? There's a full scene happening. There's ambulances. People are passing out. People are on walkie-talkies. Someone has to be like, stop this show.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then Drake comes out, and that's when everything just went to shit. Then you have an officer who says he was pricked, and they had to use in the neck with something, and they had to use Narcan to bring him out. So somebody was pricking people with drugs.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I mean, that's a whole bizarre thing. I mean, his crowds, Travis Scott is one of those guys that he's there. He's in the back of my mind. He's not someone I think about a lot. He is talented. Every time I see one of his videos or hear a song, I do like it. I just think that I've heard that his crowds are known for kind of being like super rowdy. And it's part of that. And again, I have been to shows where it's like, throw your hands up in the air, stop, make some noise, to the roof. That's all fine. But again, as we've been saying, how do you not see? It's not just one ambulance. Ambulance stops, everybody cool it, and then picks up again.
That's Jesus. To everybody. Where was the person?
Well, that's what I'm agreeing.
Where was the crew to be like,
greed.
Stop the show.
It's greed.
Somebody could have turned on those lights and you stop the show.
It's greed. Yeah. I think it's greed. They oversold it. They had no control out of how it's an outdoor show, no control out of how they did not section people off, which has been sort of standard issue for general admission shows since the Who concert in '79 and also during COVID. It's greed. It really always comes down to greed. I don't think Travis Scott is inherently a bad person. I obviously don't think he came there and said, oh, it'd be really cool. Let me get a bunch of people killed. He has shown himself to be responsible. He is paying for the funerals. He is,
it's a horrible situation.
It's a horrible situation. And like you, I just find it very difficult to believe in an age of nonstop instant communication, phones, texts, headphones, everything. Nobody saw this. And I just think people have this kind of like, whoa, we can finally be out and open together. Fuck it. Let's keep going. It's a Travis Scott show. So it's very, I saw one of the families on CNN yesterday.
It's devastating.
No, I was literally in tears at 8:00 in the morning watching them.
It's a concert. No one's supposed to die or get hurt.
No, you're not supposed to die at a concert.
You're supposed to you go to a concert. I love concerts. You're going there to sing and dance with everybody and have that moment and see your favorite artists, hear your songs. No one is supposed to die at a concert. It's absolute. And listen, I feel for him because I don't believe this young man knew what. I can't say what was going on in his head. You know what I mean? But it's hard for me to believe he would see what he saw was crazy that he didn't fully stop the show and that somebody else did not stop. It's just, I'm just in my head. I'm like, where were the people behind the scenes? Because you start hearing something's going on and you make the decision, you stop the fucking show.
I think it's all going to play out in court. So we'll see what happens and hopefully changes will be made in how concerts are done.
And Live Nation, does not get away scot-free here. It's like, you guys know how to do festivals.
No, of course.
Like, what the fuck, Live Nation? Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
It's a very
You're in the business of this shit.
Right. No, it's a really unfortunate situation. Right. I will say one thing, and then I want to let's move on to something positive about the music industry. But in the immediate wake of this happening, obviously a lot of people issued press statements and tweets and whatever, and a few people noted, and as people who use words, I have a kind of, I see it, but I don't see it, that the word devastated. Everybody used the word devastated. They went, this seems a little like everybody's using the same word. Now, it was devastating, but it was just sort of
But sometimes
the immediate impulse is to like change the narrative. And now I think they've given up and they know that they can no longer control this narrative.
No, but I can see what sometimes to me, that's kind of the only word that's appropriate. Right. It's a devastating event.
Yeah.
And I can see for him, Houston's his hometown. He does a lot for that town. Mm-hmm. And just the thought of people being like trampled and killed at your show. These are young people. You know what I mean? It's just everything about it is just horrible. You know what I mean? It really is. And it really gets me angry when I think about the level of irresponsibility, because like just their festivals all the time. We know how to have people in festival situations. And when I saw the amount of people in there, I was like, were they just letting everybody in?
They
didn't seem like this had a cap.
No, they
number.
were. They were literally like,
they were so literally like, it was like, just no, come on. Like, if you have the money, come on. They have
said, and this will come out, they have said that this thing was starting problematic. There were problems from the very beginning. And it was one of those, you know, it seats 50,000 and there's 70,000. They were opening the floodgates basically with a bunch of young kids who were reckless. Kids are reckless. Big surprise. They're now saying there may have been drugs involved. You think? I mean, of course, people were high. I'm sorry, but you know, that's not a shocker. Yeah. I mean, it's going to play out. It's bad. I mean, we've said, let's talk about something positive about music industry. You wanted to talk about this job fair.
Yes, you know, because this is some heavy ass shit. But on a lighter note, for all of the people who are always ready to rip down Jay-Z, these are the things that I like to focus on that you know, that people do that are really good. So Rock Nation and the Reform Alliance are hosting a job fair on November 18th at Madison Square Garden.
So that's a week from today. Yes. No, next Thursday. Next Thursday.
And which is basically a week. Yeah.
Week from when we air.
Yeah. So if you guys are looking for a job, if you know someone who needs a job, like it's about jobs for the New York City area, and the companies all are going to be hiring for jobs in New York City and the New York City area. And even more important is with the Reform organization taking part, they are going to be offering expungements from records and different sort of services. So if you know someone who's home from, you know, after being incarcerated or has a record and that's been sort of hampering them from getting a job, this job fair is also going to have companies there who are offering employment to people who have records, and the Reform is going to be there helping you get some things expunged off your record if you need those services. So if you know people in the New York City area, this is something that I think you guys should definitely check out. Now, you have to be vaccinated. You have to have at least one dose of the vaccine to go into the garden for it. But you can register online, go figure out what you need to do. It's free. And I think it's a really important, good thing. And I know for a lot of people re-entering, coming out of being incarcerated, that, you know, having companies finding certain kind of jobs can be hard, and or you have things that are old on your record and you feel like it's holding you back. This is a place to go, and there's going to be services there for you. And I think that's important. Yeah, it is good. It's really,
that is
really
good. Maybe they can set up vaccination there too. That would be cool. People can get their second shots, like get everything done. That is good. And there are, as long as they're not offering them jobs in the music industry, give them something, a real job, so they can have a real career.
Have a real career. Yeah, well, you know, it's like the 0.2 jobs in the music industry these days. It's such a weird thing.
Yeah. But no, that is a good thing. I mean, you know, we've talked about Jay. There is, like most artists, a dichotomy. He's on one hand, you know, this, and on one hand that. Most artists are. I've met very few artists who are, well, that's not true. Well, very few. I've met very few artists who are 100% one thing, but none of us are 100% one thing anyway. So
nobody is, right.
We're just, you know, but good for, you know, that's a good thing. So yes, if you're in the tri-state area, certainly you can come in from Jersey to get a job.
If you know someone who is, like, you know, who has a record of some sort and they've been having problems with employment, or maybe they want to change their employment. They want a different sort of job. This job fair has that. It's for you too, and all kinds of services. So pass that on, spread it. November 18th. You know, positivity is a good thing. Nothing is better to start a new year going into the holiday season and you have a new job for the new year, right? That's good energy and knowing that you're setting yourself up for your future.
And people are hiring, right? I mean, believe me, every time I go to Target, I go, I don't know. I don't look great in red, but maybe.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's not my best color, but you know, I mean, since Trader Joe's stopped with the Hawaiian shirts, it's less enticing because I do enjoy a Hawaiian shirt.
I did like the Hawaiian shirts. So you got to finally see your Velvet Underground movie that you've been talking about forever.
Well, I mean, it's so funny because it's like, you know, the Velvet Underground are famously the band that it was said only 7 people bought their record, but all 7 people started a band, which is kind of sort of true. So the Velvet Underground, for those of you who are, you know, they are a seminal New York band in the 60s and 70s. The launching Lou Reed, John Cale, Sterling Morrison. This is the early band, and Mo Tucker. The first Velvet Underground record. And Nico, who was only on the first record. You know, these are just so much a product. They were the anti-hippies. The hippie movement was in full effect, and these guys were singing songs about sadomasochism and heroin and just very, very intense lyrics with just absolutely beautiful instrumentation. John Cale came from an avant-garde musical background, so they were an important band. They are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. John Cale continues to make music. Lou Reed passed away about 6 years ago, I believe. Todd Haynes, who's a great director, feature film director, queer director, very interesting director, did this movie. I had heard about it. It's on Apple Plus. I don't have Apple Plus. I was begging everybody for their password. I believe I did it on this show. People would be like, oh, yeah, it's my iTunes login. I'm like, which is what? Give it to me. But suddenly, through the magic of I found the movie, translated it from Lithuanian, and did watch it. It's a really good documentary, even if you're not into the Velvet Underground. It's you know, I am, but it's a great slice of New York and music, and just it features interviews from the 2 surviving members, as long as archival footage. It's really well done. I mean, I do recommend seeing it.
Well, Todd Haynes is a great director. And
he's a great director.
And I love a music documentary, especially ones from that sort of period. Yeah. Because I love just to see all of that footage from back then and the way people created and going on and playing all of the small clubs and all of the shit.
Well, and especially with the Velvet Underground, I mean, the big sort of hook in the beginning was their association with Andy Warhol. So if you're somebody who also, so you have the Andy that, you know, and you see in the movie that was sort of a double-edged sword, and you see John Cale, who completely nothing to do with anything. God, he's aged fantastically. He's just a good-looking man, and he's got a full shock of silver hair, and he's just dreaming. But I digress. Really good movie, really good slice of pop and artistic culture, and I recommend it. It's on Apple Plus. So tell your friends to give you your daggone iTunes thing, and you can watch it. And then I guess you can watch Ted Lasso, which I'm going to have to find on my service.
I got you on that one.
Okay, wait. Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. Hey, man, it should be for free, man. You know? Yeah. Well, I can learn how to speak Serbo, whatever language they speak in Serbia. There's subtitles. No problem. No issue. Now, speaking of Europe, all right. You know that even with all our little blips and blobs, when you talk about, I know, I have that. Courtney just texted me the site. I'm like, yes, I have it.
It's
yeah, I know. My friend in Jamaica, that's all she uses. But we'll post about it and then go to jail.
That's a
That'll be our last show before we go to jail.
I'm innocent.
Oops. We were hacked. I don't know how that came up. when Courtney recommends something, I listen to it. Even if I know I'm not going to be crazy to it, I go, well, let me check it out. I think I may have to draw the line. I listened to it.
You don't like it? Okay.
I felt very old listening to it.
I'm actually...
We're talking about the new ABBA record.
I didn't think that I was going to like the ABBA record because I didn't really enjoy the singles a lot that they put out. But as a body of work, I actually really like this record. I do. Okay. I mean, I love ABBA. I had no expectations of what an ABBA record would be in 2021. I knew it wouldn't be the kind of songs that made them massive back in the day because that kind of popped. It doesn't even exist anymore. You know what I mean? But this is a kind of a grown-up. To me, it's a nice punctuation mark on the story. It's not offensive. It won't. It's not
the whole quote. Right? It's not offensive.
It's not offensive. No, because some people have come back with records.
No,
I'm so excited,
and
they're motherfucking offensive. It's not offensive. And I played it while I was running around. I had it on in the headphones, and I let it play a second time. I was like, yeah, I don't mind this record. It's what I mean. It's like I can't name a song other than except for
the singles.
I can't name. I Can Be That Woman Now. I really like that.
Yeah, well, you always say that anyway. All right. Listening to this record, I suddenly realized now it is very cool for music critics, this whole popism bullshit, to say, oh, ABBA. Yeah, ABBA was as important as the Rolling Stones. They're the most, all right. And I suddenly, and you know me, I love me a Swedish pop song. I will go to my grave defending Max Martin and all that stuff. And I loved it before it was cool. I suddenly realized listening to this record, I went, Amy, what are your two favorite? I only have two ABBA songs that I drop dead love. And they're Name of the Game.
I love
and
that.
Knowing Me, knowing
That's
you.
My motherfucking song.
That's a great song.
I love that
and then
song.
The rest of it to me is I don't care about it.
I love Chiquita. I love Voulez-Vous.
You're in a deep cut. Yeah. I mean, but those are the two songs. Knowing Me, Knowing You,
Thank
because
You for the Music.
They're a little darker. They're a little more the chord changes. So when I listen to this, I put it on.
Give me a Man After Midnight.
Yeah. None of that does anything for me. And I understand, but it just to me, listen to it felt a little, it's the period. I would view it more as a semicolon after their career. It just felt a little, okay, let's do a record. It felt a little old. I felt really old, not because I knew ABBA before, but I listened to going, wow, guys, this is like, there's not wanting to replicate your trademark sound, which I admire. And then there's like, wake up. Sweden has really good coffee. I've been there. Wake up a little.
I like it. But I also get that. You know what else? Okay, this is a full moment. I love Rasan Patterson. Rasan Patterson is so fucking talented. And he put out a record early, I don't know, it was late last year, earlier this year. Called,
it was like a while ago.
Heroes and Gods.
Yeah, like almost 2 years
ago. Was that
ago.
2019, the Heroes and Gods?
Yes, because he toured on it. And so that's when you could tour.
Yeah. Heroes and Gods. Well, he just put out Heroes and Gods 2.0, which is a dance house version of the album with Quentin Harris, who is a really prolific, fierce house producer and remixer. And he's also an artist. He's one half of Black Stereo Faith, who has a great album. You guys should check out the Black Stereo Faith album. It's him and Ultra Nate. But it's called Heroes and Gods 2.0, reimagined by Quentin Harris. And it is, if you love his voice over these great, deep, fierce house beat, it's nice. Good. It's so good.
I love that first Rasan Patterson record.
He's so good. So
talented. He's somebody who got really mangled by the music industry because he was an out Black gay man doing R&B, and they were like, "You're really talented, but we don't know what to."
So then he took it independent, and he's been putting his record.
He's good.
He's been fucking delivering top-notch album after album. And if you ever have a chance to see him live, I mean, the man sings the house all the way down to the fucking ground and back, and builds it back up. Okay.
Yeah. But he's really, really good.
You need to check this record out. I'll send it to you. It's really good.
Yeah, he's really good. And then you were saying, now this morning, as I was preparing for the show, I channel switched and I I made a deliberate decision to go on Breakfast Club. And guess who I saw there? The Ed Sheeran.
Oh, you saw the Ed Sheeran.
On the Breakfast Club. And all trim and slim and doesn't drink and smoke and, you know. So Ed Sheeran is one of those artists. I don't hate him. I don't love him. I acknowledge his talent. He puts out good singles. He's smart enough to give songwriting credit to the people who actually wrote the song that he's kind of copying. But he seems to be a really nice guy. Right. I have made the argument that had he been a woman, he never would have been signed because he's not particularly dreamy. But maybe if you're into like super short gingers, he is. But I was like, so you listen to the new record. I mean, it's not something that's on my radar, but he's on the Breakfast Club, and he's been there.
And he's been there before. That wasn't his first time.
Is that because he worked with Pharrell in the past?
Well,
is that
Black people like him? You know what I mean? And they talk about on this interview how a lot of hip hop artists like him. You know what I mean? And they relate to his lyrics and like what he does. And you know, listen. I'm not the hugest fan, but I'm appreciative of someone who can write and play their songs on the guitar. And when you see him in concert, this motherfucker plays stadiums, okay? And there's a band, the screen behind him, and him on a guitar in the front. There's no 500 dancers, nobody's flipping around. So I appreciate somebody who can make the kind of big pop songs that you can sing with your fucking guitar in a stadium. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, those are big songs, because you know that with stadium song and being able to do that and not having the things and all of that just shows you that is talent. And those are great. The songs are just written well.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's divisive. A lot of people like I said, I think he seems like a perfectly nice guy. He is not somebody I would gravitate to, but a couple of songs I do like. He has been venturing more and more into a kind of dancey sound. His new video, he looks kind of like a very pale version of The Weeknd kind of vibe. He's not on my radar, but I have no ill will towards him. There are certain artists I really don't want to see win. And there's certain artists that I just don't really, they can go up and smoke and I don't care. And there's certain artists who I
live for the honesty. There's certain people that I would like to see fuck off.
No, it's just, you know what I mean?
There's some that I can't stand. There's some that I've dealt with that I can't stand. And I'm like, I just, you're not a good person. I don't want you to win.
He seems like a good person. He seems like he's worked at his craft. He seems like I have never heard anyone say he's a dick. He's fucked somebody over. He's done X, Y, and Z. So I have, God bless Ed Sheeran. Keep going. Am I going to listen to the record? Probably not. Right. But am I mad that he's going to probably have a number one album? Not at all.
No, he had the number one that came out.
All right. So it's him and Adele neck to neck.
Well, no, because Adele comes out next week.
I'm saying singles wise, neck to neck.
Well, neck to neck in the UK, because Adele's been number one for the last 3 weeks. His new single and her single are now battling neck to neck. She's been number one here for the last 3 weeks. We'll see if he can overtake her right now.
I think as of next week, you and I can just take a well-earned break of talking about new music, because I think it's just going to be Adele. What's going on this week? Adele. What's going on? Adele.
Listen, I like anybody who has song titles like "I Drink Wine."
I really do. There are very few people that I think could be my friends in life, let alone famous people. And I feel like she could be my friend.
No, because she's like an old school broad.
No,
she curses like a sailor.
No. She's a round the way girl. I like her. She's the closest thing in easy listening pop rock to a gangster bitch. I like her.
I like her too.
All right. Anything else you'd like to enlighten us with, my friend?
Yes, I'm going to enlighten us with. Thank you for listening to us, guys, on the Pantheon Podcast Network, where we come out every Thursday. And I hope you've been checking out a bunch of the other shows on there. If you love music, every type of music show, scripted, unscripted, and then our crazy asses on the Pantheon Podcast Network. So you know where to find us. They're online. Pantheon also now has their own channel on Apple. So you'll see us on that main feed there as well as our feed on Apple. So we're doing big things, man.
Man.
So
Bhagwan.
So you know the drill.
And we will come to your house for the holidays.
And we will sing, and I will bring coquito. I love coquito. I love coquito.
I know. Okay, we have to stop. It's too early in the morning to start thinking about delicious frothy drinks.
It's that, I know they're trying to, it's so weird how everybody's just skipping Thanksgiving and we keep acting like it's Christmas.
I know. We're already into it's like there's a holiday in between.
We have Thanksgiving still. Hi, I'm rocking with that. So anyway, thank you guys. Thanks you've been really active on our Facebook page. I'm going to let you finish. So if you're not on there, guys, follow us there. You've been active on our Twitter at FinishIma. Talk to us on IG at I'm going to let you finish and why. We love you. We rock with you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next week.
Stay safe, guys.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.